Chapter 1. Avoid the approval trap for future happiness. Susie Moore did not have an easy upbringing. Dealing with an abusive, alcoholic father, caring for her depressed mother, growing up in a woman's shelter, you can understand why she moved halfway across the world to find happiness. However, she also realized that happiness isn't always where you think it's going to be. At 19 years old, Moore married the man she thought she would grow old with, but over time, she realized that they were fatally incompatible. That didn't stop her. She assumed on her wedding day that everything was going to be fine from here on out, and that she'd finally reached the point of total happiness. When it didn't work out, she started to feel bad about herself, assuming that she had let everyone down. This is something we all tend to do. It's not the problem that we feel so bad about. It's not the fallout for us. It's what we assume others will think of us as a result of what has happened. Put simply, we have a constant need for approval from those around us. Being concerned with what other people think about you is a fast-track route towards dissatisfaction in life. Stop checking your likes isn't about social media at all. It's a metaphor for the fact that we have all become completely obsessed with external approval, as though that somehow increases our overall sense of self-worth. Most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it, but the cost to our happiness is massive. You can make your own choices. You simply need to realize that the only approval you need is your own. Moore calls this the approval trap. For instance, you might really love someone, but you know that your family will never approve because he doesn't have a high-flying job. As a result, you let the relationship slide. Perhaps you really want to pursue a job in music, but the fact that your siblings are all doctors means that you feel duty-bound to follow in their footsteps. As a result, you abandon your dream for the approval of your family. Seeking out approval will never lead to happiness. The approval trap occurs when you place aside your own dreams and goals because you know someone else won't approve of them. Chapter 2. Forgive your parents' mistakes. They're only human. It's very easy to forget that your mother and father are human beings too, and that means they're prone to making mistakes, being selfish occasionally, or simply making the wrong choices in life. Moore speaks from a place of experience, especially as her father was an alcoholic and she experienced a lot of upheaval and drama during her childhood. The problem is, our sole point of learning as children is from our parents. We don't know any differently, so we assume that everything they tell us and everything they do is right. It's only when we're older and we're able to look back and see things as they really are that we realize they're human, and that means they're just as flawed as we are. The biggest issue, however, is that whatever you're told or whatever you saw in your childhood follows you throughout your life and in many ways can cause self-limiting thoughts or behaviors. This does nothing but hold you back. Children learn from their parents, assuming that everything they do is right. However, parents are human beings who make mistakes too. The most important lesson to learn is that your parents can make mistakes and you can still love them despite all of that. Whilst you learn from your parents, you still have the final say in what you choose, what you do, and what you believe in the end. You have free will, and you need to start challenging the things which have held you back from your childhood and updating them in the present day. Moore realized as she reached her mid-20s that whilst she loved her parents very much, despite everything, she just didn't want to have the same kind of life as them. So, you have to do things differently. If you want a different result, you have to change something. Otherwise, you'll simply repeat the same history cycle over and over again. Start to question some of the strongest beliefs you inherited from your childhood and don't simply accept them as truth. Question what you think and replace the negative thoughts with something new. This opens your life up to a completely new story, one you can become excited about. Did you know? Any person in authority has the ability to cause self-limiting beliefs in childhood, including teachers, police, family members, and the parents of your childhood friends. Chapter 3. You're not the only one who doesn't have a clue. If you assume that everyone around you is completely in control and knows exactly what they're doing in life, you're very wrong. It's possible to learn as you go along and pick up the knowledge and skills you need. Everything you need to succeed in anything you turn your attention to is already within reach. It's easy to assume that the person you see at work who is calm, assured, and has a degree knows what they're doing and never struggles with anything, but the truth is that they struggle as much as you do. A degree might mean that you have the knowledge, but it doesn't equip you with everything you're going to encounter in life. Appearances can be misleading, and you never know what they're dealing with in their lives. No one else knows what they're doing either. Ricky Gervais, English comedian. We tend to overestimate everyone around us and assume that they have everything sorted out. We do this because we're deep within our own fear cycle. We assume that everything is easier for other people and that everyone else understands life far more than we do. It's not the truth, because they're simply thinking the same thing as you. Don't assume that everyone around you knows exactly what they're doing. They don't. A lot of the time, this comes down to something called Imposter Syndrome. Imposter syndrome occurs when you feel that you don't deserve your successes in life and you convince yourself that you somehow stumbled upon them by accident. As a result, you assume that you're going to get found out and someone is going to tap you on the shoulder and unmask you as the fraud you believe you are. Imposter syndrome can be extremely limiting because it forces you to focus on the negative. Imposter syndrome is a self-limiting behavior that causes you to question whether you deserve the success you've had in life. To start overcoming these problems, you need to start saying yes to things that you would normally refuse, and you need to embrace the idea of uncertainty. You never know where it might lead. Did you know? Research has shown that almost 3/4 of people will experience imposter syndrome in their lives. Chapter 4. Harness the power of so what and understand what truly matters in life. Throughout life, you're always going to encounter situations which cause you upset, anger, or hurt. Moore talks about a time when she was looking at comments on her YouTube videos and she came across some very nasty remarks about her looks. She was obviously very hurt at first, but this then turned to anger. She called a friend and vented her frustrations, but her friend told her, "So what?" "So what?" turned into Moore's new mantra in life. One negative remark doesn't mean that you should throw in the towel and give up. It's just one person's opinion, throwaway remark, or negative thought, and it means nothing. We're not here to judge other people, but most do it anyway. If you encounter this, just remember that this is a reflection of them, not you. When you encounter something which upsets you, say, "So what?" and shrug your shoulders. It is probably far less important than you believe it to be in the moment. Putting "so what" into action can be easier said than done, but once it's established in your mind, you'll never look back. If someone says something hurtful to you, say the words, "So what?" in your mind. If you encounter disappointment, say the words. If you don't receive the credit you feel you deserve, say the words. So what? has a lot of magic and power to it because it tells you that the things you assumed to be the be-all and end-all are actually nothing at all. So what? Contains magic. It means we hold life lightly, and we ultimately come back to remembering what matters most. Susie Moore. Most people are too absorbed with their own lives to be bothered about what you're doing anyway. We panic that if we fail, other people will look down on us. But what does it really matter anyway? You need to care far less about what other people think or believe of you, because most of the time, they don't actually think or believe anything of any substance. Moore suggests sitting down and writing a small list of around 5 things that have gone wrong in your life. What happened? Did you manage to live afterwards? Of course you did. When you think back, you'll probably remember feeling more worried about what other people would think about the failure than the actual outcome of it. Did you know? There is now an acronym for the fear of other people's opinions. FOPO. Chapter 5. Lighten up. Life isn't meant to be taken so seriously. Moore suggests we all throw on a pair of comedy-colored glasses and see the humor in situations, rather than the doom and gloom. Life isn't meant to be a bumpy ride. It's not meant to be something we grit our teeth and endure. If you choose to allow it to be, life can be a wild and exciting adventure. In the end, death will come to us all. Moore likes to visit graveyards because it reminds her that everything in life is actually temporary and that nothing is set to stay. This can be an extremely grounding and humbling thought, and it's something you can try for yourself. We're all going to die in the end, so why take life so seriously? Lighten up and laugh at the things that challenge you. There are far too many things to become stressed about these days, and stress can be extremely harmful to health. Lighten up, laugh a little more, and force yourself to smile rather than frown. Of course, difficult times will still come because that's life. Remember, if you try your best to see the brighter side and laugh instead of cry, you'll notice that you overcome tough times far easier. Consider it a form of therapy. Moore also suggests asking yourself, is that a fact, when you have a thought that causes you concern or upset? For instance, you might think, I don't have enough money. But ask yourself, is that a fact? If you've eaten that day and you have a roof over your head, you have enough money. If you think, my body is too big, Moore suggests saying, is that a fact? Too big for what, exactly? Is there a size guide we aren't aware of? Asking yourself, is that a fact, when something bothers you will help you break down its seriousness in your head and make you realize that it's really not that important after all. When you break things down in this way, you start to realize how ridiculous some of the things we obsess about really are. It's far better to count your blessings and realize that, actually, if you look hard enough, you have exactly what you need at that very moment. Chapter 6. Learn to trust your intuition. Most people focus on logic to guide them towards final decisions, but overlooking that quiet voice within you could be a huge mistake. How many times do you listen and trust your intuition? This is the wisest part of you. It's a guiding voice that gives you the information you need to overcome problems and to make the right choices in life. Far too many times, we ask the opinions of other people to help us make choices, but everything you need is already within you. You simply need to tap into that power and trust what it is telling you. Tune into your inner voice and trust it. Your intuition is the only guide you need. Intuition is often called your gut feeling. Can you think of a time when you trusted this gut feeling completely? Perhaps what you felt it was telling you was completely nonsensical, but you went with it anyway. How did it turn out? You probably found the answer to a question you needed, or maybe it led you towards an opportunity that turned out to be positive for you. The problem is that intuition can't be seen, and we tend to distrust anything we can't see with our eyes or feel with our hands. You need to start second-guessing everything you think and feel, and you definitely need to stop looking towards other people for the guidance that you already have within you. When you always ask other people what you should be doing, you'll end up doing what they want you to do and not what you really want to do deep down. Asking other people what they think you should do means that you're living your life for them and not for yourself. When you go with what you want and what you feel, you'll have far less regrets when you're old and gray, and you won't look back and wish you'd just listened to that nagging voice telling you to go for it or not go for it, as the case may be. Did you know? Scientists have long tried to prove or disprove the existence of intuition, but so far it is proven to be impossible. Chapter 7. Rejection isn't a full stop. Many people assume that rejection means that whatever you're working toward has to stop. That isn't the case. Rejection is just a road bump. It's not a full stop. In many cases, rejection can simply be a case of tough love, something to help you learn and reassess how to do something a different way. Changing your perception of so-called failure is key to helping you keep going towards the things you really want in life. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Moore suggests that you should fall in love with rejection and understand that it's nothing more than illusion. Despite the fact that she is a very successful writer and entrepreneur, Moore often receives rejections from editors. Rather than becoming upset and throwing in the towel, she's learned to laugh, shrug it off, and carry on. Rejection shouldn't stop you. It should spur you on to improve. Learn to see rejection as a learning curve. Ask yourself what you can learn from the experience and change for next time. A lot of the time, when you receive a rejection, it's not about you at all. You can't know what's going on in someone's life at any one time, so how do you know why they have chosen to reject you or your work? Perhaps they're stressed out with work. Perhaps someone in their family is sick, or perhaps they're just tired and rejecting your work is just the easiest option for them. It's not always a reflection on you. Rejection isn't personal. You have no idea what's going on in someone's life that caused them to reject your work. Make a list of a few times in the past when you were rejected and reflect on what happened afterwards. Did you learn something from the rejection? Did you manage to find another approach that turned out to be more successful? Learn that rejection is rarely meant as a personal attack and can often be a route towards a more successful outcome. Did you know? After 9 months of working at Harper's Bazaar, Anna Wintour was fired. Now she's the famous editor of American Vogue. Conclusion. Looking for external appreciation and guidance will cause you to start living someone else's life. You're never going to be happy or fulfilled if you're always doing what other people want you to do. Whilst it's normal to want people to be proud of you, you should work towards making yourself proud first and foremost. Approval will not make you rich. It won't make you famous. It won't make you successful, and it certainly won't make you happy. At the end of the day, you simply need to live your life the way that you want to do and work on the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. We all make mistakes. We all suffer occasionally, and we all endure rejection occasionally. But it's how you view these events in life and how you respond to them which will set you apart. You have to believe in yourself, and the rest will simply fall into place. Try this. 1. make a list of 5 goals you want to achieve in the next 10 years and start putting a plan into place to achieve them. 2. Look back on the rejections you've endured in life. What was the eventual outcome? Was it the end of everything? Of course not. 3. Challenge any self-limiting beliefs in your life. Why do you believe them? Who told you these things? Have you ever tried it for yourself? By doing this, you'll see that you're probably stuck on a belief that has zero reality within it.